Hey, Danny here with another quick WordPress tutorial. This tutorial is going to show you around some of the menu options on the left hand side. So first you install WordPress and you do this through your host, and then the next thing you're going to do is you'll get an email with a username, a password, and a link to get into the back end of your WordPress. And once you have that and you log in, this is basically what you're going to see. Now this is an old, out-of-date WordPress that I'm using, membership site that I set up, but on the left-hand side you'll, for the most part, see these exact menu options. When you're just starting out, it's clean, it has no fluff on it just yet, but right here under posts, this is your actual blog posts. So remember two things in WordPress: posts and pages. Those are two super important things. I get a lot of people for some reason that are confused and they think that posts are pages, but they're not. Posts are blog posts, or a rolling like catalog of whatever it is that you're sharing with the world. So posts are continuous, and as you get more advanced, you'll learn that posts can be used for other things too, but for right now, think of posts with the little thumbtack as being a blog post. Below that is media, so you can house files in here, and in the library you have the option, depending on your settings and which host you're with, I think, and your version of WordPress, but you have the ability to add files and keep them there in your library, which is great because then you can add the different, let's say you're uploading an MP3 or a video, or uploading, which is probably not going to happen, you'll probably do it on YouTube, but if you're uploading like a photo, let's say a photo of one of your products, something like that, you have a maximum upload file size, and you'll find that on this page. So is keep that in mind, because you really don't want to bog down your site with giant files. So a lot of people will use Amazon S3 or Dropbox or something like that, but you can house files in WordPress, and I do suggest it. I just suggest that you keep it to a minimum. Below that is links, and I don't generally use this for much, but this is a place where you can add just common links that you use, and newbies aren't going to use that. Pages is where you actually build the pages of your website. So you'll have a home page, if you have a business, you'll have a services page, you'll have a blog page. You can have numerous, hundreds of pages if you want, as long as they're streamlined and you don't have giant files on them. You can, do whatever you wish. But remember, pages and posts are different. Pages are the actual full web page that you go to view the information on your website. A post is a little blog post where you've written something, or you're sharing photos, and it's a roll. It continues. You continue to post over and over. Pages are static. You build a page, you put the info, and then people visit it. Below that is the comments section, and comments is super important. You're going to get comments. You're going to get a bunch of crappy comments on your blog. There's umpteen million ways to filter these comments and spam, and I'm going to go into that in another video, but basically this is where you're going to come to approve, unapprove, reply, trash, mark them as spam, whatever you need to do. I get 300 comments a day on my blog right now, and probably about, I'd say 90% of those are spam. The others are good comments, but sometimes they're people just wanting link backs to their website, and I don't do it. So comments is important. Appearance is one of the most important menu options on the left side. This houses the themes, which I'll do a video about later. Widgets. Actually, let me go back to themes. Themes, WordPress is your skeleton. The theme is the skin that goes over that skeleton. Remember that. The next thing is widgets. Widgets are just little add-ons you can put in your WordPress, and they will generally fall into the sidebar and the bottom footer and the header of your website. So think of them as being the border around the main content, and you can basically interchange these out, and there's like lots of little gadgets and gadgets we can add in there, and I'll show you the differences in those in another video. The next one is menus. Menus is something important to learn eventually, and I'll do a specific video on this entire appearance section, but basically menus are the navigation menu. You know, let's say it's at the top of your website. You can customize those menus to link them to other websites, link them to your Facebook page, link them to other pages within your WordPress. So get familiar with menus and know that that is this is a way to customize a menu. Below that is theme options. I don't think all WordPress, all of the dashboard settings under appearance have theme options, so don't worry about that. It's pretty self-explanatory. Anyways, header, you're probably not going to see that. That's just because of this particular theme. Same with background, you probably won't see that. You'll be able to edit that in another way. Editor. This is a huge thing. Do not go in the editor until you are comfortable using code. If you are a coder, have at it. Until then, I want you to stay out of the editor. It doesn't matter if you read on a blog how amazing your website would change and how great it would be if you came in here and you added some code or switched something out. This is also the way you jack up your website. So unless you have a kick-ass backup and you know what you're doing, I want you to stay out of all of these pages in here. Don't even click, don't go around. All it takes is one little erase, one little space or comma, and then everything goes down, and then you're going to be upset. But a backup is a good thing, trust me. The next thing is plugins. Plugins are one of my favorite things, but they're also my arch nemesis, because plugins are individual, we'll call them packs, that you can add on to your WordPress site. They're different from widgets. Sometimes plugins add widgets that can be connected just to confuse you more, but the widgets are always going to be in the sidebar. Plugins can be something that's in any other part of your site. So you can add a plugin to add social media buttons to the bottom of every blog post. You can add a plugin that will keep your spam under control. You can add a plugin to help you sell things. So many different things, right? Well, these individual plugins have code. They are coded, and if you are buying or getting free plugins from people who are not really reputable, it's possible that they either A, have a security hole or an exploit because they weren't really that great, and they left something open which will allow hackers to come into your system, or B, it will cause a code to break within your website and cause stuff to just go haywire, crazy. It's amazing how many times I've had to disable all the plugins on a site. One bit of advice for plugins I'll go into for just a second, and that is with plugins, you don't want to have too many of them. You don't want to have 50 plugins. It gets confusing, it's not clean, it makes your site run very slow. So remember that with plugins, always keep it simple. There's an editor here to edit your plugins and some WordPress installations, and I don't suggest that either. Add new lets you go in there and search for plugins within the WordPress repository. And below that, we have users, which is where you can add new users. Let's say you have an assistant or a web designer. You want to go ahead and add them here. And make sure that you are managing these roles. You don't want to leave like 53 people that have worked on your site out there with access. The more access, or the more people that have access, the more likely chance there is for something crappy to happen to your system. Tools, you won't use tools probably as a newbie, so don't worry about that for now. You might want to look at yours once you have a couple of things installed and see if there's anything in there you want to kind of mess around with. But for the most part, import, export, and available tools you generally aren't going to want to use. The next thing is settings, and the settings menu I'm going to have to do a video on all by itself, but this is just your general settings, and every single one of these tabs, writing, reading, general, discussion, media, privacy, and permalinks all have their own use. So this is where you find your, let's call this your generalized website, WordPress website settings. So I'm going to go ahead and click back on the dashboard, and One thing I want to tell you that people really don't pay attention to is there's actually some pretty good tutorials here within your WordPress dashboard. So, click around, kind of have fun with it, and make sure that you install a backup. And I'm going to have a backup video out there soon, and the keyword will be Danny Magistro backup. But I'll have a backup video about what I do for most of my sites and give you the free and the paid versions of tools that I recommend. But in the meantime, if you have any questions at all about WordPress, please feel free to leave me a comment or get in touch with me through my website, which is dannymagistro.com. Thanks.